really helpful if you have a piece of paper and a pen in front of you. I should have said that at the beginning or whatever, but if you have something handy, just grab a piece of paper. I'll give you a second to do that. Grab a pen, and we are going to go through and we'll lay out the three top things that we are seeing and go into some detail on all of those. All right, so at the very center, if everybody's got your piece of paper, we'll go ahead and get started. At the very center of your sheet of paper, I want you to just go ahead and either put your name or the name of your business right there, because that's what's most important to us. That's what we're talking about today. I'm just going to put your business on my sheet. So first and foremost, that's what's most important. Now, the first thing that we are seeing, the theme that we've seen, and this is going to seem like an obvious one right off the bat, but stick with me because we're going to dive into it. So, and that's just to be not just a professional, but the professional. And when we talk to agents, and can you guys, hopefully you guys can kind of see what we're writing on here. When we talk to agents, that comes in two different areas. And one just comes down to your knowledge and specifically your industry knowledge. So things to think about on this end. This is part of the reason why we do our top 100 and include market updates in those. It's part of why we do the Monday market updates for all of you, is to try to provide you with industry knowledge on a regular basis and, you know, small bite-sized chunks. The classes that you're attending, the conferences that you might be going to, the fellow agents that you're surrounding yourself with, these are all great ways for us to learn. I'm going to put my big plug in here for, if you haven't seen it yet, but Mars legal FAQ update, just a ton of great industry information in here. Your broker will love you if you read through this. They will be thrilled to hear that you pulled it out and looked at it. You know, so for example, we had 130 plus classes in our offices last year, all of it focused around industry knowledge and being the professional. So what I want you to just think about is maybe on your sheet, put down some of the things that you're doing or that you've done just to think about keeping you updated on the industry knowledge. At the very least, check out those Monday market updates. The second portion of this really comes down to, this is your operational excellence. And so the combination of those two really is what creates you as the professional. Now, your operational excellence all has to do with when you're working with your clients, the buying, the selling, the transactions, dealing with that, working with your fellow agents. Do you have systems and processes in place? So for example, here, and every office has different things, but we have BAM, SLAM, AMP, and teams. So BAM is for buyers, SLAM gets you going on sellers, AMP is for all of your administrative work, admin and program for that, and then teams obviously is if you want to leverage and expand how to go about doing that. But we have to have the operational excellence if we ever want to leverage or grow our business. So when we talk to those top 100 agents and they talk about being the top professional, these are the two things that have come out of all of those conversations. So now what I want you to do, and you'll see why we do this at the end, is I want you to think about your industry knowledge and your operational excellence. And I want you to just kind of think about your business, where it's at right now, and rank it from 1 to 10 about how you feel like, hey, I feel like my industry knowledge is pretty strong. Maybe that's a 7. My operational excellence, maybe need a little work on that or whatever, that's a 6. So 10 being the best. So come up with those two numbers. And let's say this was a 7. I think I'm a 6 over here. I'm just going to add those two together, and I'm going to give myself a 13 for the being the professional. Everybody feeling good so far? Kind of tracking? All right. So the next big theme that we're seeing come out of all this will go down on the lower level of the chart here, and that's all about your positioning. And that, just like the top, has two things. This is where, so where can people find you? Where are people finding you? And then what is the message? What's the message they're getting once they find you there? So let's dive into this a little bit. When we're talking to all those top 100 agents out there, the where comes down to a lot of different things. And you can write these on your sheet. You probably have some of these in place already, but it comes down to your website, your personal website, any of the portals out there that you might be using, making sure you have your profiles on your different accounts for those portals, realtor.com, Zillow, et cetera, so on. Your social media, what does that look like? If you have, what does it look like when you Google yourself? Not on your computer, but somebody else's computer. Are you running Google ads? Are you Google screened, which is a great new way to earn leads through Google? So something to take a look at. Are you showing up in their inboxes, in their mailboxes, at events? Are you part of communities, a community association? Any of those places where people might be finding you. And it's really great to write down all those lists and take a good picture of, because you want to make it extremely easy for people to find you. And that's what those top agents are doing. They are in all of those areas where people can find them, know how to get a hold of them, and really then interact with them and engage with them about real estate conversations. So make a list on your sheet, make a list separate, and think about where are people finding you. Also, a great thing to do, like I mentioned, go and grab somebody else's computer and Google yourself, see what comes up. And there's different ways, if you email me later, that we can help you pop to the top of your Google searches, but don't do it on your computer, because all of those cookies and everything that's on there already, it's going to give you different results than what a potential client's going to find, right? So then it comes down to the message. And in the message, we want to make sure, one, that we're going back up here and they're finding out that you're the professional. So what's the information we're putting out there in the message? So and maybe the message is about where you want your business to go to. Do you want to be more of a listing expert, a listing specialist? Talk about that in whatever material you're putting out there. Do you want to be a buyer specialist? Do you want to be a certain area expert, a neighborhood expert, a niche market, luxury expert? You need to make sure you're putting that type of communication out there, because if you're not selling luxury homes right now and you want to, you need to start talking about luxury homes right now so that you can move up into that area. And that's the way past top 100 agents have done it in the past. So, and then sometimes we're giving messages and we don't even know about it. So I might be picking on a few people who in this, so just bear with me a second, but I want to give you an example to see if you get what I mean. So right now, a lot of business comes through referrals, right? So let's say a friend wants to refer you to somebody and they refer you and another person. And let's say you're looking for not even a real estate agent. Let's say you're looking for a doctor. You ask a friend, they say, hey, here's two doctors that I would recommend. And here's their contact information. Now, I want you to just think about the messaging here. So one of their contact information is, I'm a doctor at gmail.com, or Dr. Johnson at spectrumhealth.com, or at mercyhealth.com. You have two choices here. Which one of those doctors are you most likely to contact first? Who speaks to the professional message, right? So we can do the same thing too. You think about like an attorney, a situation, typically pretty high stakes. If you have to hire an attorney, probably a very high financial risk involved, just like a real estate transaction. And so are you going to look to the person and contact the person first who's, grlawyer@gmail.com, or somebody who's like, Steve Miller at Miller and Johnson, or Clark Hill, or any of those really reputable brands? And just so you know, for $5 a month, you can go and get your own Google account where you can name it your own. It's safer, it's more secure. It is far worth the $60 a year that it's going to cost you, because you may be missing out on things that you don't even know about just because of something like that simple type of messaging. So I apologize if any of you are still using Gmail. Gmail's great. We use it too, but we just use the paid version because we want to make sure we're sending out the right message. Great. Everybody doing okay? Get some head nods. All right. Everybody's found. So positioning was the second theme. Now, what we want to do with positioning, again, is just like we ranked up here. We thought about our industry knowledge and our operational excellence and ranked it 1 to 10. Think about that list you made. How good do you feel about, on a scale of 1 to 10, do you feel about that list? So if you're feeling pretty, that list needs some improvement, I'm going to say I'm a 5 on that list. And then think about the message that they're receiving from all of those contacts. Do you like that message? Is that message according to where you want the future of your business to go? And so depending on where that is, let's say, yeah, I think that's a 6. So we're going to take those two and add them together to get a good total score for positioning, and we'll give ourselves an 11. Final theme, and then we can open it up, but this all has to do with your presence. So presence. So this is about, again, everything's got 2 things that popped up. This is being with the right people and the right time, right? Right people, right time. Let me dive into a little bit about what we're seeing and why this is so important. I mean, it makes sense from the standpoint of, we know who are the right people. So typically we're talking about your database, your sphere there. We know 86% of home sellers pick somebody they know. We just know in general, the numbers are very close to that for business that comes to you through either repeat or referral or people from your sphere as a whole. The buyer's number is very similar to that seller's number. So that's a lot of the right people right there. But if we have 100 people, 200, 300 people in our database, we also know statistically that only about 5% of the general public is moving in a year. So how do we make sure we're not missing out and that we're staying in front of those people, those 5%ers on a regular basis? And the real answer here that we hear over and over again from agents is the consistency. So I'm going to give you the answer here, and I'm going to give you a secret weapon too that you can use for this, but really it's that consistency, that systems and processes to make sure you're in front of the right people at the right time. So things you're going to want to think about and probably list out underneath these 2 sections is, do you have a good list of the right people? Do you have a good database? Is it organized? What systems are you using? Do you at least have it on a spreadsheet? We know that if you at least have it on a spreadsheet, on average, agents make about 250% more than those that have nothing at all. Huge difference. And then for the right time, what are you doing? What systems, processes do you have in place for consistency? What way are you doing your continuous monthly marketing, your mailers, your pop buys? There's a great list of pop buys in the Monday update this week for spring and summertime. All of those things to build a system. We have a great monthly, actually 12-month program that you can fill out at the beginning of the year to help plan your year so that you stay consistent and not miss any of those 5%ers. Now, the secret weapon is our first app. Our first app is going to take everybody in your database and star them 3, 2, or 1. And the 3 stars are the most likely to move in the next 12 months because of all those life factors that imply moving intent. So you take a look at that list once, twice a year, and those people, those are the ones, those 3 stars, make sure they get that VIP attention in 2021 or 22, whatever it is. It really helps you focus your time and resources so that you're in front of the right people at the right time. So finally, just because I know we're getting close on time, we're going to go ahead and score these 2. So think about your own business, ranking from 1 to 10. How do you feel about your list, your database, and the health and of that? Rank the health of your database from 1 to 10. I'll give that a 7. And then rank your being in front of the right people, your consistency, your systems, your processes for being in front of the right people at the right time. And if you haven't had time to list all those out, I encourage you after this meeting, just draw lines right off of there and list out all the ways you're contacting people on a regular basis. So I'll change this. I'm gonna say this is 5. So we're gonna total those 2 up, and now we have a score for our presence. Now, what we've done off of this, I'll explain in just a second about what those numbers mean, because we've taken those themes that we're hearing from top agents, put it together in this tool to help us really analyze, basically you've created a 1-page picture of your business. Everything on the top half up here, is talking about operations. Everything down here, and really on this side, this is about the attraction, right? The attraction of new people when they go and search you out. On this side over here is really about that retention of your current people, right? So now when you're looking at what to work on your business next, hit that future goal, whatever it is, take a look at your scores. Now these are all really close. I probably picked bad numbers, but take the lowest score and say, okay, I'm going to focus on just upticking my positioning online for the next few months and see if I can move that and add some places of where they're going to find me so I can change this 5 into a 7 and so on. And take a look at each one of your areas and decide what is the primary one. What's the lowest score? Work on that one first and then up those levels. And you can do it just by tackling the things that are on the list or vacant from your list under each one of those areas. So that's it. Those are the 3 themes, the being the industry professional, positioning of yourself, where you can be found, and then making sure that your presence, you have a high presence with the right people at the right time. And we see it over and over again consistently with agents, both when they're planning for their future and when they look back at, hey, what really made them successful at where they are now. These things just all seem to rise to the top. They may call them different things, they may have different names for them, but it's all along the same themes. So what I'm going to do is I'll put in the chat right now, I will put my email address. If you want to email me what your page looks like, if you want resources for each one of these areas, maybe circle which one you want before you email it to me. We'd be happy to send you out some resources that you can use to help build in those different areas, or just some good questions to think about so that you can continue to build in those areas. I'll also put in the chat just a link to all of our past Monday updates. Well, not quite all of them, but quite a few of them. So if you ever want to go back and be like, oh, what was that piece of material that was talked about on Monday? I want to share that with my clients. You can find that there. You don't have to search through your email or anything like that. So they're all hosted here. So with that, I know I took up about 20 minutes of your time. Open it up. Anybody have any questions about this? No. Great. Well, and that's all right. I hope that you found those things helpful. Like I said, I think this is a great tool to do a couple times a year. Take out, save the one that you did, take it out and either add to it the next time or do a new one and compare it to the past and see what it looks like, and make some intentional steps for improving each one of those areas. So, and again, if you have any questions or need anything, feel free to reach out and we are happy to help over here. Thanks so much, everybody, for attending. And